Good afternoon and welcome to Artists of Color. I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host. Good afternoon and glad you could be with us. Today, I have a very special guest. I mean a really very special guest. Young lady I met a few weeks ago at Northeastern Crossing for an art show, and it was the second anniversary for Northeastern Crossing. And this young lady is Cecily Carew. First, I must tell you, she is the daughter of Tapa Carew, who has been around for many, many years. And I was actually surprised that that's who you were. So she is my guest this afternoon. And we're going to have a nice little conversation, because we really had a great one at the opening at Northeastern Crossing. Good afternoon, Cecily.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
You made it.
I did.
We've had a interesting few minutes here, but it's really I'm so glad you made it.
Me too.
You know, I really am. You know, you and I had an interesting conversation at Northeastern Crossing, and we talked about you and what you did, who you were, and where you've been. Give us a little background. I want you to tell my audience who you are, what you do.
Oh,
A little bit, just a little bit.
okay. Starting with
What you do.
what I do. Well, I'm a painter and now turned printmaker. I do monotype printmaking.
What is monotype printmaking?
I would like to consider it a painting on a plate. So I do my work on a plexiglass plate, and once I put the plate down and the paper down and run it through the press bed, it's done.
Really?
So they're all one-of-a-kind, unique images.
Now, are they multicolored images?
Yes.
Like, so how do you get okay, so once you do a medium like that, and once you start a piece like that, how do you get the different colors in?
Oh, well, I mixed them before.
Oh, you mixed them before?
Yeah, and then once I put it through, sometimes, I mean, there's planning that goes on, so I'll think if I put down, you know, yellow first, and then I have red on the next run through, then it will be orange.
Oh,
So I can make that happen right away, or I can layer and then use color that way to complement and just play around. So
sounds good. Because I like that, because you said that when we were at Northeastern Crossing, you were talking, because, by the way, I was at Northeastern Crossing, and she and Cecily did a workshop. It was quite interesting. I had never done anything like it before. And she was talking about playing with the colors and playing with different images and how to put those types of images together. And that was quite interesting. I had a good time.
I'm so glad you liked it.
I did. I had a lot of fun. By the way, did you know that they took our images and put them up at the Northeastern Crossing in that little side room?
Oh, I heard.
It's right up there.
Oh,
Mine is there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I took some, I put them in my room and then my son's room too. So.
Oh, wow. Tell me how you became an artist.
Oh, this started since I was a little girl. I remember Bob Ross and painting with my cousin. She lived with us for a while, but that was when we were around 11 or 12. And she had just finished studying painting at Yale. Ooh. So I had a bona fide artist next to me, and she put it on, and we would just paint our landscapes, and you know, she taught me how to do things. But I think even before that, I loved art class, and it was a ton of still lives in our classes. But I always remember just doodling or, you know, watercolor. Anything to get my hands on.
Okay. Do you use watercolor now, or is there you don't use watercolor now? So tell me, we have this piece that you have up here next to me. Tell me, that's not watercolor?
No.
What type of?
That is a gel print. So it's this really cool hard. It's not hard, but it's like this gooey, gummy surface, and you can do monotypes on it. I'll just say it's more like on the go.
Okay.
So you have to use acrylics with that and medium so that it stays wet because it dries so quickly.
Oh, all right then.
And so you put it down and put the paper on top of it and smooth it a couple times and peel it off. So I wasn't able to work in the studio 24/7, but I had to keep doing something and I wanted to keep experimenting. So I bought this gel plate and brought it home. You can make them. You can put them in your refrigerator. It's pretty cool.
You can make them?
Yeah, yeah. There's a woman, I don't remember her name, but my friend and mentor told me about her because she took a class with her and was like, you have to do this gel process. It's so cool. She showed it to me and I was like, oh, okay. So I have not mastered this by any means. I was just fooling around.
You were fooling around with it?
Yeah, I just wanted to do something and work outside the studio. And this was a nice non-toxic way to work from home.
Oh, so it's non-toxic. Well, that's good.
Well, yeah.
Basically,
you can't swallow it.
No, we're not going to do that. Oh, that was great. That's wonderful, though. I never knew about gel type.
Yeah. It's really interesting. You can get a lot of really great images. If you can put a leaf down just like you would do on a plate and maybe smooth it over, so then the shape of the leaf will then imprint onto the plate. So once you put the paper down, it will stay there as this little like ghost image.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or you can use the leaf on top, and once you put the paper down, then you've masked it, so then it's, a white area of that shape.
Oh, okay.
But this was just something that I
Looks like there's a hand there.
Yeah, I did a little lino cut, so I actually wrote that. I carved those words out.
Oh, I like it.
Thank you. And then I ended up stamping it onto that image. So the whole thing.
They're beautiful.
I
like the colors. I love the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
it worked.
do.
I can't quite achieve that anyway. And when I do my printmaking.
You can't?
Well,
I mean,
not yet. I'm trying, but the fluorescent colors are not available in Akua ink. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get there.
I hope so.
So where are you from?
I'm from Los Angeles, California. I grew up in the Hollywood Hills, and then we moved down to Toluca Lake, and I'm born and raised in California.
Ah, yeah. So when did you come to Boston?
I came here in 2001. It was just 2 months after my mother passed, so I was going to go to the California College of the Arts. That was not in the cards. It was way too expensive, wonderful school. But my father, since he was from Boston and our family's here, he's like, I think you can go away and have family support. So I learned about the Mass College of Art and Design. And I hadn't thought about it because the East Coast was really not on my radar.
It wasn't on your radar at all. You were thinking,
no, I love California.
More West Coast.
Yes.
I can understand
Everything
that.
West Coast. So I ended up coming out, seeing the school. I applied immediately because I was like, this is the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got
and wonderful artist, great legacy. And my family was here, so I stayed from 2001 until 2005, and I left. But I'm back.
Yes, I've noticed that.
I've come full circle.
And I guess sometimes that happens. You get to come full circle.
Yeah.
So what is it like being back in Boston? Or in the Boston area? I know you're living in Cambridge, but
Yes.
what it's like being back in the Boston area? How do you feel about it?
I mean, it's kind of wild. The city's changed so much. I was actually speeding over here on Mission Hill and was like, oh, the old neighborhood. This is strange. It's totally different.
Oh, it's totally different.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So yes, widely gentrified and just different. But coming over was kind of cool. The buildings, there's all these buildings that have gone up. The neighborhood doesn't look anything.
Doesn't
it's
look
totally
anything like it used to look.
unrecognizable.
You're right.
Yeah, some of the stuff that was here that I enjoyed is still here. Luckily, like Wally's is still here. So I'm like,
Oh yeah,
that's
Wally's
great.
is still here.
That's my favorite.
Wally's is not going anywhere.
Yes, it never.
We're never going to let it go
No,
anywhere.
no.
And Slade's is still here.
Yes.
Bob the chef is gone.
Oh,
It's now Daryl's.
that's true.
Yeah. Have you been there?
I have.
Okay.
It's good.
Great. Great.
But I love it. I love being back here. I missed the seasons, I think, a little bit.
Well, see, that's one of the reasons I would probably never move. I would miss the seasons. I was thinking about that earlier today. I said, I don't think I can go anywhere because I like my season change. You know? So, you know, tell us a little bit about your family, about you, about your family, about Dad.
Okay, my father. Yes.
You know how much we love Dad.
I know. I love him. My father is Dr. Carew. He was heavily involved in the civil rights movement. Has always been for the people, about the people, lifting us up, and you know, closing the gap of equality and equity and
there you go.
everything that matters. So. He is who he is. He's still here. He actually came full circle too. He's back in Boston. He's in Cambridge. He's at MIT, and he's working on another people's project. So he partnered with Google and created this program, reached out to them, and then they formed this really wonderful partnership. And he's coined it the term tequity.
Tequity.
Yeah. So he wants to close the gap of you know, technology for Black and brown people, and give us some equality. So
in the technical world.
Yes, equality and equity. So it's tequity.
I like that.
Yes, tech equity.
I like that.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
Yes, he's having a wonderful time, and
I know
it's a really wonderful and successful program. It's CS Edge is the name of it.
Oh, okay.
They have it. He has it in several different schools. Don't ask me to name them. There's some that are in New York. I know that. In Oakland, here.
Where here?
Here. Let me see. I'm going to be in a lot of trouble for not saying this. It will come.
I know it will, but that's okay.
I think we know.
You know, let's go back.
Okay.
Let's back to you. You and I, you and I were having our conversations.
Yeah.
We talked about the many different places you've been and lived, and let's talk about some of those places.
Okay.
We know you started in
LA.
In LA.
Yeah.
And where were you before you got to Boston?
I was in San Francisco.
Okay.
So I spent a semester there. I was playing volleyball at the San Francisco, it was at San Francisco State University.
Oh, okay.
So many colleges.
I know, that's why, you know, we'll
like a lifetime ago, 2 lifetimes ago. So I was there for a semester, and then we got a call from my father, my sister and I. We are environmental twins, so she's 9 days older than me.
Did you say 9 years older than you?
No, 9 days.
9 days?
Yes.
Environmental twins.
Yes.
I have never heard that.
Yes. So we're always together. But we got a call from my father, and he said, your mom looks like it's, this is the time you have to come home. So we went back to LA.
Right.
She passed that June, so summer. And then I came here. After my 4 years, I went to New York.
Where were you where did you go to school in New York?
No.
No, you just went to New York.
I fled. It's like, goodbye, Boston, I'm done.
Now I'm done. I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I've noticed a lot of people will go to New York and then they'll come back and then they'll go to New York again. I have a few friends like that. Nice, and they're artistic friends, by the way.
Yes, of course.
You artistic people love New York.
I do. It's
So,
like the mecca of art.
It must be.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's the Broadway capital, but discovering that it is the artistic mecca. Mm-hmm. Wow. So when you were in New York, were you painting then, or were you going to school?
I was not in school. I was delaying. My professors, my senior year, said you should continue, give it some time, because it was,
so many things.
There was so much that happened, and they were just like, take a breath. Grad schools don't want people who just graduated from their undergrad anyway.
Yeah, they want you
to
to
see
wait
that
a
you
minute.
can figure this out on your own
Right.
and think independently. So I was like, okay. But I always had art therapy in the back of my mind.
Yes.
Yeah. So I said, I'm going to give a little breathing space, go see what I can do. Can I be an artist? I'm going to try to be an artist. That totally didn't happen. I had a couple shows, like I participated in some group exhibitions, but I think I went to New York just with the intention just to get out and, you know, just jump in and see what the world was going to be like.
Happen.
Yeah.
Just see what was going to happen.
So I had some interesting experiences there.
I'm sure.
I learned a lot about myself and, you know, just the importance of direction.
Yeah. It's a good thing to learn about yourself.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. And I realized, you know, I'm a California girl. So I wanted to smile again. And I spent about 3 years there in New York, in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it
but
is.
went back. It's
I have
not the
family
same.
in Brooklyn, so yes, it is amazing.
Yeah, I was in Bed-Stuy, and it is not the same anymore. So nothing ever stays the same. That's the purpose of a city. But
right.
Yeah, went back to LA, and at that time I'll backtrack a little bit. When I was in New York, there was a period where I was laid off. I was doing this design job for a very sketchy company, and they were like, "We don't have any more work for you." I said, "That's great." So I had some time off, and decided I want to do yoga. I want to teach yoga.
Yes.
So that's something I had always done with my mother since I was a little girl.
Oh, really?
Yes, my godmother was one of Bikram's first apprentices, and she still teaches. I don't know how old she is, but she looks like she's 30.
There you go.
You know, she still teaches.
I like that.
Yeah.
That makes a girl feel good.
Yeah. So I just said, okay,
So
this is what I want to do.
that's how you got into yoga.
Yeah. I felt like if I'm working, I don't want to be strapped to a desk with no purpose. And purpose, I think, is something that everybody's looking for. Yeah, and it has to move. You got to. Yeah. It's spirit. It's everything. So I found that, and it's always been something that centers me, and I think it always feeds into my art somehow too. One, with physical action, I like to have my hand in my work, but also it's intuitive. It's intuitively guided, and you know, something that it's like, this will sound totally cheesy, but it's kind of like me saying this really long prayer or just like a mantra or.
Yeah, that's because your body and your spirit, I think.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Yeah, that's my way of like connecting to myself, to spirit,
exactly,
and everything.
I love that. I try to do a little yoga every day.
Yeah,
I do.
It's good.
Yes, it is. You know what? Since you and I have talked a little bit and we've known each other for a minute, what was it that I read about you on your website? Mamapreneur?
Oh, the mompreneur.
Mompreneur.
Yes.
Tell me. When I read that, I said, what is that? So you are going to explain what the mompreneur is.
Well, it's an entrepreneur, but I'm a mother.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a mompreneur.
You know, I kind of figured that, but I thought maybe there was another, you know, definition to that. So
I'm sure there's a much lengthier, cooler definition other than I'm momming and I'm trying to do my solo act as a mom, and you know, it's real. So
yes, it is.
Entrepreneur is real.
Yes,
and mompreneurs are real.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. That's very true. So, how old is the little one?
My son, he is 3.5. He will probably tell you I'm 3.5. That's a little bit more. It's like 3.8, but
he might. No, you know, he might tell us he's 3.8.
He would like to.
Oh my
goodness. And he will.
Is he into art?
No, but he's into mommy's art.
Oh, well, that's
good. It's
good.
kind of cool. Like, I have a space. I've taken over our dining room table, and he always goes. He knows that that's kind of a no-touch zone.
Right.
But he'll look at it and he says, "Mommy, I like your art. Mommy, I love your art."
See?
It's really special. And I was like, "You really like Mommy's art?" And he's like,
likes Mommy's art.
Yes, I do. But you show him something else, he's like, "I do not like that." And he's a very particular little boy.
And I bet he is, too.
Yes, he knows what he likes and he knows what he does not like.
Then he said, "Hey, don't like it."
Yeah.
You know what? We have a few pieces of your art, and I want to start with that. And I want to talk about, we're going to start with talking about a couple of your pieces that you have. You're going to tell me what was your inspiration behind those pieces.
Okay.
Because I love every one of them.
Oh, thank you.
Let's begin with this one. Over here.
Oh, over here. Oh, okay. So this one is called Beaming. It's part of my
Oh, there we go.
thank you. More recent work, and I really love the artist Chihuly. He's a glass blower, but I think something that inspires me about his work is, or just helps feed my idea, is these shapes within shapes. So that's it. I just love his work, and I think his palette is beautiful. He just has these really wonderful color choices for all his stuff. So drawing from that, I always just say to myself, okay, shapes within shapes, just to organize my thoughts and my ideas when I'm walking into the studio, because it can go south very quick, and just, or left, we'll say. So, you know, no matter what, it was walk out learning something new. But I like it. I was thinking of just how I wanted to get to this place where I could collage. I really love collage.
Oh, okay.
And using these objects that I find and putting them into my paintings, what I used to do. So a long time ago, I was working with paint, or I was working with, not paint, with tape. I was working with some of the prints I did in college. I did a little bit of monotype. I had fond memories of it, and that's why I came back to it. But I would take those things, cut them up, and then, you know, just staple them onto my canvas and keep painting with it. My friend was like, that's real gangster, you do that. But
I love that.
I was trying to find this way from the very beginning when I started this, or embarked on this journey again, was, okay, how do I marry the two?
Okay.
Make it really big, but how do I marry the two? So, well, if we're going to talk about this one, this is the very beginning of me finding this movement within the
Well, I actually
paper
can see
on the plate.
Yeah, I can actually see the movement.
Yeah.
But I also noticed one thing about your work. You use a lot of blue.
Yeah, I love blue.
Aha. Okay.
It lends itself really well to every color you could possibly think
Yes,
of.
I guess it does, and it happens to be my favorite color.
Oh, okay, good.
And this one.
Yeah, once I found these shapes, I found this unusual object in the studio and just started pushing the ink around on the plate and came up with this shape. My teacher at the time was like, those look like pencil shavings. And someone's like, oh, no, that looks like, you know, the rings of a tree. And I was like, well, you know, let's just call it organic, because that's...
It's like a fan to me.
Yeah, it can be so many things.
Yes, it can.
But to me, it's conveying this idea that I have in my mind of movements. I want you to look at it. I want to look at it and just start stirring something.
Yes.
You know? So I was thinking, what if this was in a box? What does a box look like? What if I trapped it? How do I trap it?
Okay.
So I just cut out this square, you know, with my little knife, and inked it up with some red and orange mix, and then I think I put it on the plate first and the paper down. So at the very beginning was this red shape in the middle of this white page, which was pretty striking and beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's a funny thing that happens to you with this paper. One, it can become so precious because the paper is not cheap at all. But you know, you create an image, and then it also changes. Once you put the plate down, you don't really know what's going to happen.
What you're going to get, what's going to happen with it.
So I inked up another plate and said, okay, I'm going to put this on top, and you have to figure out where you're going to put it on the paper.
Oh, all right.
So I figured it out, put it down, and then this is what happened. So see the blue, it interacted with the red.
With the red,
and then came out purple. And there's different hues, and you have this really nice light that comes through.
I like it.
So some of those things you can control, some of those things you can't. There's
Absolutely.
You always have to. My friend always says, you know, in printmaking, that the paper is a part of the artwork, just like a canvas. Sometimes you kind of want to just get rid of the white of the canvas to think clearly. But with the paper, you want to preserve the white. So that was the challenge that I was
left with.
And wanted to really work with, because generally when I paint, I'm filling that up. I don't want any space that's
No
left
space
white.
left?
And if there is white, it's because I put it in there.
Okay.
So here it's different because you can't approach it that way. I can't paint over. I
Looks like
cannot
crystals
erase.
to me.
Yes, thank you. This
looks
one,
like
this one's
crystals.
in where is this? I'm trying to think of where this went. It found a home recently, but
Oh, it did?
yeah, yes. I want to say it's at Earl's Kitchen and Bar in the Prudential.
Oh, okay.
It very well could be.
Oh, all right. I like
But
it.
anyways, I was really excited about this one because I wanted to make this really bright shape. And so again, going back to shapes within shapes, can I add some sort of figure? I really love figures, but I'm not a figurative artist, and I don't really enjoy I'm not trying to represent the image, so I'm not a representative painter. Either.
You're more of a shapes.
Right, I love shapes.
I noticed that from your when I saw the exhibit. And you were talking about the different ones, and I just thought it was so interesting, the way you were explaining how you, I said, okay, I got it, but I don't got it.
I know.
But it was beautiful. That's what got me more than anything. Now see?
This one is one of my favorites. This is the very beginning of these shapes. You see how there's not as much, apply pressure when I'm moving through it, and these are a little bit smoother.
And some of them are like a little bit jagged. Yep. So you can tell the movement of the shapes that you're using.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So, the way that the ink pools in places is really, really fascinating to me. And I made these lines actually first. I push the ink and scrape it and drag it and scrape and drag and scrape and drag. And then I'll start moving the ink around. So I intentionally left these places open, but I like to think of it as, you're looking through. And at that time in my life, I was going through a divorce, and my friend and I would talk every single day, and she was like, I feel like it's hard to see the forest through the trees. I was like, yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Because nothing makes sense right now, and I don't know where I'm going in life, and I can't see.
I've had that feeling.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've had that feeling, so I know what you mean.
Thank you. Yeah,
like,
so like
how
this, it's just, how do you find the light? How do you get to the light? And I think that's...
Well, this to me looks like you were getting to the light. In a very different sort of way, but you were getting there.
Right. So, these are things that I think about when I go into the studio. I'm working something out for myself, and I'm working something out on the plate.
There you go.
And that's what happened.
I know you said that. I remember going back a little bit at the beginning. You were saying that you do
Monotype.
Monotype.
Yeah.
Is this considered monotype?
Yeah.
Okay, it is considerably. Okay. Consistently it's considered, because I wanted to, even though it's monotype, I wanted to know what you as an artist, what are you doing? What is your art? What words or definitions do you put to the work that you do? Your type of art. Could be the mono thing, but I think there's something else, and I'm wondering what it is that you feel that you're doing.
A word that comes to my mind is just joy. I'm like expressing joy.
I like that.
I like to think of, I guess if I had to, check off a box and say I'm something, it would be abstract expressionist.
Oh, okay. Abstract expressionist.
Yeah.
I like that.
And there's many different abstract expressionists out there, but it's the whole purpose of it is you are expressing something.
Exactly.
And it's pulled from something. It could be what you can see. It could be what you feel.
What you're feeling.
It's so many things, but it's the expression. That's why I don't want to say that I'm representing something, because it's with the intention to
exactly represent that.
Right.
But that's not what you're doing. You're not replicating that.
Right.
You're replicating what's in. You're actually bringing forth what's inside of you.
Right.
See,
that is my art.
I got it. But I still say, and I'll say it again, she loves her blue.
I love my blue.
Whatever work you do, there's always some blue in there.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
It's It's I mean, there's so much that you can get from it. It's not black.
No.
It just brings in light some way that
and there are so many
intriguing.
different, exactly. And there are so many different hues of blue.
Yeah.
You can be, you can have a dark blue, a medium blue. You can have that Sinai color blue, which happens to be my favorite blue. But it,
yes,
whoa,
black.
there you go.
It just pops. I think of it as like that it pops. And there, there's the grayscale, but the blue is something that
in there
kind of it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Okay, let's talk about these two before they disappear. Oh my goodness.
This was my first diptych.
Who?
Diptych. So it's,
Never heard of that.
It's two pieces.
Oh, okay.
That have a relationship.
Yes.
So I call this one sisters.
Oh, okay.
Because they're alike, but they are definitely not the same. And I think growing up, I'm used to my father and my mother had a hard time separating our personalities, so we were always treated
because the
same, and we're like, we're not the same.
No, you're
It took
not.
them a very long time, and I think as a parent, understanding what that's like now,
because
that I
you're a
see the
parent.
struggle and why it was
Because
probably
you're
so
a
hard.
parent.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. I want to stay on that track with you because I want to talk more, but I want us to go to a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we will continue that conversation because I thought it was great. I like that. And I would love to meet your sister.
I know.
Yeah. Good afternoon and welcome back to Artists of Color. I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host, and my guest this afternoon is Cecily Carew. Hey, Cecily, we're back. How are you?
Well.
We were having a good discussion before we went on break, and we were talking about the two of you and your sister.
Yes.
The 9-minute twins.
Yeah, the 9 days.
9 days.
Feels like 9 minutes. Yes.
I'm sure it does. And you said that, but your mom or your dad said the two of you were like alike, and you said, no, you're totally separate.
Yes. We are our own people.
But do you look alike?
No.
You don't look alike.
Well,
Okay.
we're not blood related, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But
that's
she's
okay.
beautiful.
I'll bet she is. I bet she is. How does she like your work?
She loves it.
See, there you go.
I feel really lucky just because, this time being back here, and going through that whole transition was just like, how do I get back to me?
There you go. How do you get back to you? This is getting back to you.
Yes. What do I want to do with my life? I want to make my son proud and just know that he can do whatever he wants to do.
Okay.
If he has a dream,
Let him have it.
do it.
There you go.
And don't let anything get in your way.
I agree with that.
So, I at least want this to be a story for him in the future.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been really helpful. She lives with us. She graduated from the University of Michigan. Ooh. And she came to live with us, and I think I was, sometime last year, was still experimenting and not quite sure if I wanted to give a lot of time to this.
Oh, okay.
And then I decided I was going to cut some days out of work just to be in the studio. Okay. I feel like I want to make this my job.
Of course.
Yeah, so she said, you got to do it. And she studied business, so
well then
there's no plan.
There you go.
Yes,
she studied business. You're the artist. She can put it two together.
Yeah. She actually joined me at a couple fairs. So I did a Christmas fair in JP. It was the spontaneous celebrations and sold a couple things. Yeah, it was cool. She's been there just as like my cheerleader.
There you go.
My business person to keep me on my ball.
Focused.
Yeah, and she's like, we're doing this or we're not doing this. And it's we're doing this. So
there you go. There you go.
So
I like that.
She enjoys it. She's inspired by what I do, and it feels good.
Oh, of course it does. Of course it does. Yeah. Oh, I think that is so wonderful. Where have you exhibited besides Northeastern Crossing? You just talked to us about doing something at JP. Where around the Boston area, other places have you exhibited?
Oh, well, I did the Beacon Hill Art Walk.
I've never heard of that either.
Yeah. I'm still learning about all these things. There's so much out there.
I assume I think your sister's finding all these places for you.
No.
She's not?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just report to her.
We talk. You just report to her?
Yes. We discuss, but this is a Cecily Carew production. That's it.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I found out about that because I was looking for other ways to exhibit work, and I think I just Googled, public art shows.
Oh, okay.
So there's a call for artists. You have to submit your work and it has to be approved, and then they'll invite you and give you a space. So I had a space and set up my little booth. I bought a tent this summer and set it up. I have my table. I have a banner. It's quite interesting.
The whole 9 yards here.
You go hard, you go home.
That's it.
I discovered that there's a whole world of people that just do these shows.
Oh yes.
So I'm learning about these other avenues that artists have created to sustain themselves as artists, and just stay busy.
Yeah,
making money, doing their work, and happy. But it's this really cool community that's out there.
I'll bet there are. I'll bet there are. Mm-hmm. We'd like, and I didn't see you, so I know you weren't there unless I missed you. We must have you do Roxbury Open Studios next year.
Yes.
That's my favorite place.
I would love to.
And I go every year, and I meet new artists, new people. I would love to see you there, and I think that would be great.
I will do it.
Oh, that's all right. I'll keep you informed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because last year and this year they made some changes.
Okay.
So the artists are the ones that are involved with putting the entire program together. There used to be a program called Discover Roxbury. That's kind of like gone to the wayside. But the artists wanted to continue doing Roxbury Open Studios because they had been doing it for 19 years.
Ooh.
And I had been covering it for 19 years.
Oh.
So, yeah. So what we did was all the artists got together and they made the planning and they kept in touch with the venues that the different artists had been going to set up. And some of the artists have their studios in their homes, so they do that. So, but it's a 2-day event. Okay. It's always on a Saturday and a Sunday. Okay. But I will keep you informed for when the next one's going to come up for 2018.
Oh, I'd love that.
So I think that would put you right back in the middle of the community.
Yes, I would love that. There's something that's kind of like that around Cambridge too.
Yeah, there is.
I didn't know that every city has.
Dorchester, up here in Dorchester, Mass. Dorchester has their own Dorchester Open Studios.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And they usually have theirs a week before Roxbury has theirs.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you don't compete.
Nah, we don't want to do that. And I mean, it's just the artistic world sometimes, you know, it expands, and I like to stay in my own little box. So I consider Northeastern Crossing my own little box, you know, to where I find new folks.
Yeah.
You know, so when I saw you, I said, okay. And it was very funny because when I first met you, and I knew you, and I saw your name and everything, I said, why does that name sound familiar? Your last name, but I couldn't figure it out. And then when I came and told my studio manager, Barbara, she said, go back and find out if her father's name is top of the So I went and talked to Derek. Derek said, I told you that. I said, no, Derek, you did not tell me.
Yeah, I had the same question from them when I went and met him. Derek was like, are you?
See? Yeah. You know, it's just, it was, I said, okay. Then I had to come back, Barbara, yeah, she is. I said, okay, I didn't. She said, didn't you know that? I said, I didn't know, you know. But it's good because first thing I told her, I said, you know, she is absolutely amazing. And I love her work.
Thank you.
And I said, she's coming on my show.
I'm so happy to be here. This is huge.
I'm glad you came. I mean, let's talk about this one.
Okay.
Because I think this is where we kind of left off at.
Oh, yeah. I love this one. This is one of my favorites.
And it's got yellow in it.
Yes. I love yellow.
Okay.
Yellow is like
my
jam. I love it. But you know, I didn't want it to be an eyesore. I was just thinking, okay, fine, I'm expanding on this idea of the movement, the shapes, and now I want to try masking, but in an interesting way. So I'm going to protect the white. I want to fill up the space. What does it look like without so much white on a page?
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
But how do I keep it in these special places? You know, so I took this paper, I think it was like parchment paper or something, and just started ripping it up, and I protected the areas that I didn't want to get tainted with ink.
Oh.
There's a really wonderful process. You take transparent base, and it's like a glaze, and it is a glaze, but you know, it's like taking Galkit or something and with oil painting and mixing in a medium just so you can lay it over.
I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah,
with another artist.
It gives it, you know, just a more depth, or you hue the paint. But for this, this turned out yellow, but it was actually gold.
Oh, it was?
Yes, the Akua ink gold Intaglio is very hard to work with. It's wonderful, but I think I mixed in just a little bit of this Hansa yellow, just to make it pop. So when I mixed it up, that hopefully it would come off and be a little bit not so subdued, but something brighter. And when you look at it,
I can notice, you know, it's much brighter on that side.
Yeah.
On your left here. Well, actually, yeah, your left. And it's a little bit darker on my right here.
Yeah.
I can see the differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the
you know,
difference to the cueing. Yeah.
I inked up the plate. This appears to me to be a little bit more gold. If you actually can see the paper.
Do you know that one right over there where we were just talking about with the gold in the paper? Looks like a person. You know, look at it. It looks like 2 eyes and 2 legs and a little something there.
Oh, this little guy?
Yeah. I noticed that and I said, okay, exactly.
Yeah. It's this little spirit animal in there.
I thought maybe your son got in there.
Oh, that would be funny.
Oh my gosh. It's beautiful though.
Thank you.
It's very, I want to say at some point it's like, it pops, but it also looks like it's space. Mm-hmm. You know?
I love the cosmos.
I thought you did.
I think of these explosions. We talk about nebula a lot. He loves it. My son's favorite word is nebula. And you know, cosmic dust, and we're just looking at space and black holes and whatnot. And I went to a talk of Neil deGrasse Tyson's sometime last November. I want to say November, and it was fascinating. And it was just like, okay, now we really need to know about this. But I think something about it inspired me because if he, who's a scientist, an astrophysicist,
yes,
Neil deGrasse Tyson, yeah,
yes.
if he can be like, we are made of, cosmic dust.
Okay.
Some, star stuff is what he likes to call it. I'm like,
I've seen
I can
him
do star stuff too.
He's done stuff. He's done programs on one of the cable channels, the Discovery, one of the Discovery channels.
Yeah.
I love his
Cosmo.
stuff. Yeah, I love his stuff.
Yeah.
See, yep.
So, but if you look at them,
he's really cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, he's so cool. He's so cool. But the way he talks about it is just with just this energy, this enthusiasm that is undeniable. And you're like, okay, you really love this stuff.
You really love it.
Yeah, and he's like, it's just simply beautiful to look at. I'm like, yes, it is.
Thank you.
I think I also draw from that.
Oh, so that's
the outer space palette too.
Ah.
You look at the light, it turns blue.
There you go. There you go. Well, now, what about this one? Because see, this one reminds me of that too.
Yeah, I had created this was a monotype that I did, and I wanted to. I'm actually starting to work with more black now. So originally, I had these black pieces with just a little bit of color, but I really wasn't sure what I was doing, and I just said I have to work with color because that's what I know. I think when you start to do black white, just becoming very monochromatic, it can then become daunting to work with color. So sometimes I'll talk to people and they're like, I don't really know how to work with color. I'm a little afraid of it. And I'm like, you gotta just do it. So I want to just do the color and then come back to black because I think that for me, that's a challenge too.
Oh, okay.
So you get comfortable working in a certain space and then that's a whole other thing because it's you could do so much with that tonal range. So I wanted to find a way to incorporate black into this, and it has a really striking effect to me. Like these shapes don't read the same as the other ones. They're a little bit more airy, and these are like
they're right there.
Stand out. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
But if you see then because there's the white there, it's like relating so well. And then I also kept some space. I like to use these string pieces in it just to take it out. But it's like this. It's the idea we're always weaving in and out. Yeah,
exactly.
But you see how the purple just passed over that black, and it's like it doesn't really look black so much anymore.
No, it doesn't. And also with the black over here, got that blue in there. Got that blue in there, so it's it's not totally black. You can see where there are some of the spaces that are totally black, but then you can see the places where the black turns into blue.
Yeah,
and also with the red, also, yeah.
And a lot of
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like they're always relating. These shapes are always relating. They're having a conversation, and that's how I like to think of it.
Yeah, and they probably are having conversation. I have to tend to agree with you. I think they just are. Tell me about this one. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Okay, so this is like a little departure, and I'm still working with the black, but then I started to get to this place where I thought, okay, am I done with the shapes, or is there more to do here? And how do they lend themselves to something that's a little bit bigger? So I have these shapes, and I cut them out and inked them up, and then they're on the plate. So before that, and they're sitting behind there just as like they're in the background, like, here.
We're here. We don't know why we're here, but we're here.
I think of like fragmented spaces. So I have these hard lines, and I think like hard lines, these hard edges have a really interesting relationship to these soft edges. There's this idea of like this organic versus machine. I have a piece called Organic versus Machine.
Oh, really?
But it's like, I'm always thinking about the juxtaposition of these man-made or straight-edge things. It's hard and deliberate, and how how they relate to something that's a little bit. We'll say more organic.
Okay.
And flowy.
Yep.
So. There's that, and
there's an eye there.
Yes.
Just like
I like to take. I always go back into what I'm doing, and I'm erasing and carving something else out. while I'm creating the image, then something else comes to mind, and I just thought, okay, this is all about layering for me. So if I'm layering and layering and layering, because it's not the same as painting. I mean, I feel like you have to do it to go, totally, I get it.
All right. But then
it's just like you have to approach it just differently. So I took, again, we see this as yellow, but it was once gold.
Okay. I was funny because I was going to ask, that was going to be my next question about that yellow.
Yeah, so you just a little bit into that gold. You see it in person, it actually has a really beautiful shimmer. And same with that piece before, the evolving one. That yellow has a really beautiful shimmer. And I just feel like it gives it this depth because there's gold that's in it. But the gold to me is like, it's always sparkly. And I really like pretty things. I can't help it. I'm a Libra. But, the beauty of it. And so I cut out these little shapes and put them in there because I wanted to just play with the idea of depth. At least it reads that way to me. But,
I can understand that. I love it. I really love that. I think that is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what are your plans artistically for the future and coming up? Are you going to be exhibiting anyplace else? I know you're going to be at Northeastern Crossing for a while.
Yes, that's up until February.
Right.
Right now I just finished another project with the other side of Northeastern.
Oh, yes. When is that going to...
Yeah.
When is that? When are they going to reception that? Or
I'm not entirely sure. I just created the image. It was approved by the Public Art Committee for that side of it's right by the MFA on Parker Street.
Yep, I know exactly where it is. Yes.
So I think it's supposed to go up towards the end of the month.
Oh, okay. Because I do want to be there for that.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear from Bruce.
Okay, very good. I'm glad of that. Because
Yeah.
So what else are you doing?
I'm working on a series of, they're 50 small works. So I was selected for this group in Cambridge. It's called the Community Supported Artists, and it's through the Cambridge Arts Council.
Okay.
So I'm part of the 2017 group, and there's 9 of us that were selected from those that applied, and we were commissioned to make these 50 small pieces. I think it just... So everyone's kind of varying in size. My size that I chose to work with is 8 by 8 because I generally like to work larger. So these are 20 by 30, 22 by 30 pieces of paper. It's big.
Oh, I didn't realize they were that large.
Yeah, and so you get the diptych and it's like...
Yes, because when you look at them differently, like here, I didn't realize they were that huge.
Yeah, so I love to work large. There's just a freedom and there's so much that you can do. And when I was painting, I was doing like 10 by 10 foot pieces. So that I like to work in feet, not by inches. So
I guess so.
How do I work within these little inches? So I chose 8 by 8. It's this nice little square, and I have wood panel. And getting back to this idea of collage, I wanted to set out to use.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. That's okay. We're going to, I'm going to tell you, I'm so glad you came. I am so excited. It was great just talking to you again.
Yes, you do.
You got to come back.
I will, thank you.
Well, you know me, I'm going to keep track of you anyway. And everyone, today my guest was Cecily Carew, artist, yoga and Pilates instructor also. We didn't get that far, but she does that too when she's not painting and collaging and mono, whatever else it is she does. But we had a good time.
Yes, we did.
And I'm glad you came.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I really am. It's okay, nobody can hear us anyway.